I'm gonna ground. We'll pray before we start. Let's pray
Okay,
before
yes.
we. So make sure we're all safe. Okay, good. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll start us, and please add anything you guys like. Okay, so thank you, Source. Thank you, Divine Father. Thank you, Divine Mother. Thank you, all the archangels from all the dimensions, for joining us today. I call upon the Elohim to please join us. I call upon all of our ancestors that work with the light, as well as all the ancestors of the light workers that will be tuning in. I also invite in all of our spirit guides that work with the 100% with the light, our animal guides, our dragon guides, and everything else that's appropriate to join us for today's session, to allow whatever is in the highest good of the highest number of people be set today. We surrender it 100% to you, God. You're the one doing everything, and we let go. So be it, and so it is. So be it, and so it is. So be it, and so it is.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. I have a very spiritual guest lined up for you today, and I'm stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey there, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together.
And I'm Leslie, your co-host, also known as Light Being Love, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And we are here with Dr. Pontea Dianati.
Yes. Nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for being here. All right, guys, in this episode, we are honored to introduce the incredible Pontea Dianati, Ph.D., who is spiritually gifted healer, NDE survivor, and Doctor of Psychology, who collaborates with the Angelic Realm, God, our galactic family, and Mother Nature to bring profound healing to the world. With years of study in psychology, specializing in integrative psychology, subtle energy medicine, and integrative spirituality, Pontea is an experienced leader in youth and adult self-healing and self-realization education. She masterfully bridges ancient healing practices with cutting-edge science in her sessions, which offers both in-person and online to clients worldwide. As a deeply intuitive, trauma-informed master of bio and energetic medicine, Pontea unites spirit and the science of electromagnetic fields to support individuals, families, and even animals. Her healing sessions are transformative and accessible, with discounts available for those in need of support. Love that resume. I love that you help animals. I'm just going to start with that because that's where my brain goes first. So thank you.
God loves the animals. Remember, when Noah saved, he saved the animals because they were innocent. So there's something about the animals that really touches God's heart. You know, they're so innocent, they can't talk. And so we feeding the birds is kind of like, we'll make sure we always have food. That kind of is how I see it.
Aww, love that. And that's synchronistic that you mentioned birds, because we're currently caring for a baby pigeon right now.
I love that. That's a good omen. When birds come to you to care for them, once you care for them, a good gift will come to you, is usually what I've seen from Mother Nature.
Oh, okay, cool. I look forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere specific you would like to start the conversation today?
Sure, I can start with the NDE, since everybody likes it when I start there. Like,
okay,
I don't know where to start because my story is so long and complicated. But the NDE 2 years ago, and that was a shifting moment. So, yes. So 2 years ago, I'd been sick for like a good 6 years, like the pain level 10 to a point where like I couldn't get out of bed 3 to 4 days a week, you know, and throwing up, going to all these doctors, that kind of stuff. So after that 6 years, I got to the hands of a surgeon, and he was like, I am the best, you know, and all that. And he's like, let me fix this headache for you. And I was like, all right, what are we going to do? And he's like, just tiny little sinus surgery, open up these little bubbles here with a little tiny camera, then you're done. And I was like, cool, like that seems simple.
Yeah, sounds easy.
Yeah, like, I'm like, that sounds like an easy, like, I don't break anything. There's no stitches, just like nothing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I go to the surgery the morning of, I had a bad feeling. And I never get bad feelings for no reason. Right. So I was like, bad feeling, but I'm like pushing through kind of, the surgery's at 8:30. We get there. I tell him, he ignores me like most doctors do. So please stand up for yourself, people. I'm going to say this, like, advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Yes.
ignores me. He's like, everything will be fine. We go through the surgery. I come out. When I wake up my eyes, I felt like 10 times worse. Like, it was like my brain was swollen. There was stuff coming out of my nose. They took me home. My sister was with me for a few hours and then she left. So it was just me on my own for a few days. And I just didn't feel well. Like, the pain was so bad. I kept crying and dropping to the floor, like screaming to God, like,
Mm.
what is going on?
Oh man.
And yeah, so then I think 2 or 3 days after something like that, I sneezed and something cracked. And I heard like my brain, it went like, I'm like something
Oh,
cracked.
Whoa.
Fell
Okay.
over, couldn't even move. And I just kind of somehow reached for the cell phone. I'm like, Mom, somebody get here. Like, I'm dying. Because I was like, I had nothing like that good. So my sister gets there. They take me to the hospital. At first, they're just downplaying it like it's a headache. And then they do a CT and there was 30 bubbles in my cranium. So there was a crack and then so the air had gotten in. And so they kept me in the hospital, I think 6 or 7 days. And when I was there, at some point, I crossed over to the other side because the pain was so bad. I think I just kind of crossed over. And when I crossed over, it was like this beautiful heavenly realm. Like, everybody was dancing. There was music. I was seeing all the different demigods. And I was just like, whoa, like, and everybody was dancing in their own dance, not like a hip hop dance or like a jazz dance, but like a spiritual dance, like their essence.
Okay.
And I kind of was like, I want to stay here. And then I heard God's voice say, like, he said, like, you can come home if you want, but if you go back, you'll be able to hurt them. And he said, he basically said something along the lines of, like, I know you've been suffering a long time, but if you go back, you'll be able to help them with what is to come, is what he said. He didn't tell me what is to come, but he said something is to come and you'll be able to help them.
Okay.
And so then I kind of came back into my body. I kind of came back into the room and I was kind of like, what happened? Like, was that real? Was that not real? Like, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
But after that, because the voice I heard was the same voice I had heard my whole life, like, my doubt about God went away. Because I was like, damn, it's the same voice. Since I was a
Yeah.
kid, I was hearing this voice and I thought it was my mind, but it wasn't my mind. It was God. So then that was like, okay, the proof of God became real for me. And so then after that, I would say, like, my work changed. A lot of my memory got erased because I think the little quiz that came out kind of took my memory. So I didn't remember
You're funny.
traumas anymore. It was great. And I kind of just became giggly. So even if I'm like right now, I'm going through one of the hardest tests of my life, somebody I love the most is in the hospital and I'm giggling. Like, I was dancing with him. I was holding his hand and I also cried 6 liters. So it's not like I'm a psychopath, but I did, after the NDE, have this gift of joy that just won't leave. It's weird.
Oh.
Well, that's a good
Awesome.
bonus. And
That was
again,
the NDE story.
okay. Again, prayers, love, and healing vibes to your loved one that is in the hospital right now. I'm visualizing their healing in my mind.
Thank you. Yes, everybody, please send prayers. And if anybody else's family or anybody's suffering, please put it in a comment. Let's not take these on alone. Whenever something's going on, let all each other know, because group prayer is really powerful. So
That
if any of
is
you are
true.
also suffering, please put it in the comments so we can pray for you. Put the name of the person, the location, and because it's powerful.
Oh
I
man,
love
I love
that.
that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that. And in my server, we have a
I
whole
was just
channel
thinking that.
dedicated to
Stop.
prayers this way, because like sometimes people, they just have something going on and they just need other people's positive energy. So I have like a whole space on the server dedicated to, if people have that going on, that's like available.
It also made me think of Jeanette Byro, who is a future guest and hopefully we'll be able to make it. But she's going through a lot. She has her own podcast and she does daily tarot reading and she's a medium and she also had an NDE and
I love
she
that.
also channels. But she went through and is going through recovering from a medical issue where she had to take some time off and everybody in they reached out with someone in her team or whatever, a friend reached out and everybody on a set time did a prayer. I think that's powerful. I mean, it really is.
Mhm.
Yes, Exactly, because like that's where our power is, right? Like all the light workers in the world care. And what is the most powerful thing we have is like our minds and our prayer. Like we can literally help each other. That's how we'll defeat evil. Is once we truly unite and have each other's back, they won't have a way in. Right now, they still have a way in. This person's following this teacher, this following this teacher. They're more spiritual, they're less spiritual. Evil's like just making us fight instead of like we're all like one crazy family, you know? So
Yeah.
I would like to hear more about the demigods and what happened there.
The dancing sounds so fun. Like in my head, I was just picturing like a whole like festival.
Yeah. So like it's kind of like like I saw Buddha, he was dancing and he had kind of like a very calm presence. I saw like Yogananda,
Okay.
and I grew a long time. And obviously Babaji is also one of my teachers. And I saw the Divine Mother and I saw different forms of her because Divine Mother is one force, but she is 1,001, I think we said last time. So she was dancing in like a Tara form, which is her Buddhist emanation. And I want to say it was green Tara that I saw.
Okay.
I kind of recall. It was Buddha. I did not see Yeshua, but I know he was there. I felt his presence.
Okay.
My mother, Yogananda. And there was the other ones I didn't know, I think. It was like other ones I didn't know who they were. Yeah, there we go. That's what they're like. The ones I specifically remember are all those.
That's cool.
And in Hinduism, one of my gurus used to say, when the dancer and the dance become one is when you become God. Yeah. And I never knew what it meant, like I heard it when the dancer and the dance become one. So now what I understand is that like every day we're dancing. Like when we can either walk or we can dance to our car, right? It sounds kind of silly, but and some people are walking fast, they're kind of grumpy, they don't help anyone. And some people are walking slow and they're looking and they have a thing and they open the door for the elderly. So I think like dancing to me is like spirituality, probably. And it's like a philosophy of life. So to see them in that heavenly realm, for me, it was kind of like they had mastered themselves, they'd become sovereign, and they were dancing to their true essence instead of like, I have to be like this teacher, I have to be like this teacher. Because God always tells me, I want all of you to be your own blueprint. Don't try to be like Yogananda. He already lived. He was amazing. Yes. But wants you to be Leslie. He wants you to be Ali because he made you like he designed each of us so perfectly. And Divine Mother says the same thing, So for me, seeing that dance, it was kind of like, okay, I got to keep dancing and coming to my essence and being myself. Like I'll reach that level, maybe. I don't know. I keep processing it because the NDE seems to like keep opening up, And I didn't even know I had an NDE. So one of my doctors told me, he's like, you had an NDE. And I was like,
your doctor's the one that told you?
Yeah, my doctor's the one that recommended me to Jeff Mara. He's the one like emailed like my client had this NDE. You have to, because I didn't want to be public. I was kind of like, I want to be a hermit. God this year was like, no, I need you to kind of go talk. And talking to him, he was like, I want to have you in the Jeff Mara thing. And I was like, okay. And then that's kind of how it happened. He's like, so that's kind of, I didn't even know it was an ND. And then Reverend Bill, and he was like, yeah, you had an ND. And I was like, okay. Because I kind of was like, was that a dream? Like what happened?
It's interesting that you mentioned Reverend Bill because as soon as you said Yogananda, my brain went to him because of their connection that they had. And then, so shout out to Reverend Bill. That was fun talking with him.
Love him.
And he was also, we had a chat with Reverend Bill, which everybody can check out on Alley.
Yeah, and we actually just sampled a clip from the first, because we have 3 interviews with him on my channel. So I took a sample of the first interview and I recently featured it on the UAP UFO news show where he was talking about his alien or potential alien implant, because we just did a story on implants. So I thought of him. And then I also thought of Megan Brown, who had an NDE. And she
also saw lots of
she saw like everybody from Jesus to the Divine Mother, Divine Father, to Martin Luther King, to Yeshua, to like everybody, even including Freddie Mercury from Queen. Like she had a whole concert in heaven and everything. So I love the idea of dancing. The idea of dancing when you said the dancer and the dance become one. My brain thought of
that's cool.
I'm gonna mess this name up. What are they called? The twirling dervies or the whirling dervies?
Whirling dervish, the Sufism.
Dervish,
And Sufism, it comes after Sophia, so it's like the feminine aspect of Islam. So Islam is like more like rituals, masculine, which parts of it are very powerful. But then the Sufism is like the feminine aspect of Islam, where you dance, you twirl, you chant, you work with plants. And Sophia, it's Sufism. A lot of Sufis don't know that, but a lot of them do. It's
Okay.
interesting.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I was surprised too. But yeah.
Did your NDE include a life review, or you didn't experience that?
No, I didn't have a life review. It was kind of like, you can come home if you want, because we know you've been suffering a long time. Because like that 6 years leading up to the NDE was like literal hell. Like I don't know anyone would be able to deal with that level of, like, I had kidney stones on top of the neurological issue. Like it was like so many level 10 pain things happening simultaneously,
Oh my
that if I
goodness.
didn't have my spiritual tools to like lower the pain, or like all the, it was like, yeah, it was like literally like a 6 year internship to figure out how to deal with the highest level of pain in the body. It was crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, it was kind of leading up. I was kind of like hopeless. Like I'm like, it's never going to get fixed, because no doctor could even figure out why it was happening.
Were you working, like practicing with the
Yeah, I was still
psychologist?
working. I was still working, but like I could only work 2, 3 days, you know? So the days I didn't feel good, I just tell my clients, hey guys, today I'm just sleeping all day, you know? And then I'd be like, tomorrow I feel good. So I would schedule them. And it was good because when I would do the sessions, I was channeling like God and all that. So the energies would come in and I didn't have pain during sessions.
Oh,
So that was interesting. But then I couldn't do more than like 4 hours a day, because then my nervous
So
system.
prior to your NDE, you were already like a spiritual therapist?
Yeah, I was already, yeah, before my
Okay.
NDE, like, yeah. Yeah, because I started doing like I was like a therapist before, like I think 2014 is when I was working in all the trauma clinics, like low income clinics with kids that had sexual trauma. I had kid children that like girls that were just cutting their arms left and right. So like I had 200 people on my caseload, and I could only see like 20 a week, you know, so I was trying to get to all of them because it was county clinic, but it was like really hardcore cases. I just finished my
Very synchronistic too to another guest that we just had,
Tell
Karen.
me, what was it? Was it a cutting, something like this?
Well, she also worked with really intense, you know, sometimes they were like, I guess, mandated to attend the therapy, you know, so it was really like challenging, and she
Kind
did
of
it
like
for
a
a long time.
CPS, Canadian version
Well,
of
I wrote a lot of
CPS.
CPS reports. You know, kids would come to me, tell me my daddy watched porn with me on their lap, you know, or
Oh my gosh.
like I mean, this, and I got very sick working at that clinic. So that's when I realized empaths, whatever we are, when we're around dark energies, we can get sick. So I started kind of
Yeah.
doing clear it. That was 2014. Then I went to another trauma clinic working with more teens and kids, you know, but a lot of kids I would get were spiritual. So it was like they were cutting themselves, but some of them could see angels, you know, so they thought they were crazy. So I think my job, God was like having me tell them, you're not crazy. Angels are real. You're not psychotic. Because the psychiatrist would just be like, you know, let's put all these kids on all this medicine. And I would have to get into arguments and be like, I know you're a medical doctor, but this kid is 5. He doesn't need to be on amphetamines when he's
Thank
5.
you.
Yeah,
His liver is
exactly.
still developing. And the doctor would be like, well, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Okay. She'd be like, you don't understand the social implication of him not having friends. I'm like, you don't understand the social implications of liver cancer. And so it was like a lot of that when I was in clinic. So finally, I left that children's clinic. I went to some rehabs. I started working with people with drug addiction. So again,
Okay.
a lot of light workers, lots of demons on them, smoking meth, whatever, psilocybin, whatever, to not feel the demons. So when I was in these clinics, I was like removing demons from people constantly, because that's the way I would see the psychological symptoms come down. Now, I didn't have any control over what medicine they were giving them, right? Because these were like felons and people that were like court ordered. But when they were in my session, I was doing meditations with them and working with Archangel Michael, or I was like in the Divine Mother, or that like I had one client. Yeah, it was just a lot of interesting cases. And then so after that, God kind of told me like, now you're ready to open up just a spiritual office. Like, he said, just get a little office. And you know how in that movie it says, when you build it, they shall come.
Yeah.
Build it, they shall come. If you build it, they shall come. And so then the light workers start showing up.
Okay.
And like they would just be like, you know, so then since then I started doing this. And then that was that. And I was kind of healing myself the whole time.
I think it's awesome what you're doing, and we've talked a lot about, you know, the need for people like you in our Discord group, and you know, back in the day we used to have, you know, voice chats and talk, you know, about everything spiritual, metaphysical, you know, you name it. But that was one of the things, because people do struggle mentally, and I think a lot of the times it is a spiritual thing that's going on, and that just I'm ready for like that to be,
That's gonna be the new
understood and seen in the regular, I guess traditional, psychiatry.
Yeah, like it's like we need that kind of stuff for emergencies. Somebody's suicidal, but even then, like yesterday, I was talking to a client. She was so sweet, this 26-year-old light worker. I love her. She was telling me like she was 15, she was suicidal, she cut her arm, and they 50'd her. And then, they took her to some place like super hardcore. And like it just made her really turned off about mental illness, like you're having people come aggressively remove you, take you to a place, put you down. Like they're
Yeah.
suicidal, they're not aggressive. Aggressive is different from suicide, right?
Yeah.
Our mental health system in America is very violent. And that's why I like people like even Paris Hilton's like talking about it, right? Like how they hurt the people in those places. And so there's some places that are very good, but a lot of the mental health places I was at, I was constantly like, we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't do that. I finally was just like, I'm done with this. I want to just do spiritual. And I think you're right. Like, and all the people that are interested in psychology could do this work. And I'm going to train people. Like I'll do a 1-year training to kind of do like a strong, whoever wants to, they'll be called to it. But yeah, it's important. Dr. Barbara Stone that I interviewed, she's amazing at this stuff. She's also doing a training in the fall for like demonology, basically, like 8 courses on like removing demons, different stuff. Because yeah, I've never seen someone that was depressed that didn't have a demon feeding on them. Never in my life. Never.
Wow.
Never.
Now, do you visually see these entities, or is it more of a feeling?
Like I feel them. Sometimes I see their really disgusting faces, but like I've asked for because we can do that. We can set our filters to like show me what I won't freak out seeing. Kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I see.
My teacher taught me like you can adjust it. So yes, I have seen really scary ones, but then I've kind of now adjusted it to like different settings. But
you were like, okay, that's enough. We could turn their faces off. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm like, I just kind of can look, and I'm like, oh, that's the destroyer. Like I instantly know what demon it is because this is my demon chart. This is one of my demon charts, right?
Okay.
So like, give me an example of like an emotion that you feel every day, and then we'll know what demon's attached.
Anxiety.
Ooh, does this correlate with the what is it, David Hawkins scale of consciousness?
I think it'll all go together, yeah, because like I think, for example, let's say how exactly. Thank you for bringing that up, Leslie, because David Hawkins scale of consciousness is one of the most important things I ever learned. And so when we remove demons, our consciousness goes up. Why? Because if this is my aura and I'm just chilling, but then there's a destroyer feeding on me, that thing has like a black cloud. And so it's going to be in my aura and it's going to lower my vibration. What energy did the destroyer feed on? Pain, sadness, and anger. How many light workers right now have pain, sadness, and anger?
Wow.
A lot of people.
So how many light workers right now are possessed?
A lot. A lot.
How do we remove them? We have to feel the feelings and let them pass through, and then go to somebody that can remove demons. But once you've learned the protocol, you can just do it. You call the demon forward. You say, yo, I'm done with sadness, anger, or whatever. You clear it. Then you call the appropriate guys and you say, please take this demon away. Sometimes they won't go away. We bribe them. So I bribe them sometimes. And I'll give you this throne. And so demons have to be tricked sometimes. They like feeding on us. We are good batteries for them. So we usually offer them like a job, and we're like, hey, come leave our beautiful friend and we'll give you a job as a light worker. And then Archangel Michael will take them. I call it demon rehab. And I know
demon rehab.
That's how we redeem a lot of them, right? So we've been able to redeem some of the demons back to the army.
So you're transmuting their evil energy and just allowing energy to do what it does, which is change from one form to another.
Yeah, because they were all angels, right? Like all the demons were angels. They were just like, hey, we don't like God. God is stupid. We're going to do whatever we want. We're going to get power. But then they lost their light, and all they want is that light, because our inner light is like literally like an elixir for us. So we usually offer them a chalice of that. Actually, we give them a chalice of God's inner light. And like at first they're kind of like usually paranoid, like, what are you doing here? And then we just keep offering them more. And then at some point they take it. And the moment they drink it, they transform. And it's like, suddenly they're like, oh my God, this is who I was. Some of them are opposite demons, so they're smarter. So they'll kind of resist. But when I was working with Barbara, we're working together on one case, and so we still convince them. So we just have to bribe them more, let's say. But some of them are really evil. We got to capture them and we put them away. So we try to use least force. I always say, like, I try to be as gentle as I can with the demons, but once they're like not leaving a person or trying to commit suicide, then we get more forceful and we push them out. So
Okay.
So you're like the demon whisperer / transmuter / bringer back to lighter.
My theory is that because I had a sexual trauma when I was 4 years old and I started to see the demons inside of people, right? Like I was like, the man that sexually molested me, I could see there was a demon in him. So then I was like, holy shit, people have demons inside of them. And so it kind of like opened me up to the underworld, which is not the same as hell. There is no hell. Let's clarify. There is no hell. Does not exist. Underworld, very real thing. Underworld is like our own. It's like me being able to see the demons. I'm able to see the underworld in our world. And now a lot of people can. It's not just me. Lots of people are sensing them. It's not like a big deal because the filter has been removed. Okay. That's why it's like the darkness is increased. It's like the darkness hasn't increased. The filters have been removed.
Okay. Is that part of the awakening, would you say?
Yeah, because we have to know what's on us to be able to remove it, right?
Right.
Good point.
Yeah. So then I started kind of seeing them, but I was just a normal teenager living in Iran, just like living in Iran, whatever. But then when I moved to America, a teenager, again, normal. But when I was 18, saw the Celestine prophecy, started to see auras around people, met one of my first gurus, started going to self-realization, meditating, that kind of stuff. Seriously. I still couldn't see them, right? Like it was still kind of like a feeling. Like I would look at some people and I'd be like, I don't like that person. And people would tell me that's judgmental. And then later they would steal $10,000 from my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Or I would get into like, I would meet a girl and I would meet her boyfriend. I would be like, that guy is dangerous. And then I would be at their house 2 months later and he was about to hit her and I would have to stop it. So I seem to be in weird places intervening with darkness, It was weird. Even in like hospital this last week with my family that was sick, the doctors did something very wrong. They put a tube in the person's lung instead of their stomach. And they were not apologizing for it.
Oh my gosh.
So I could see, I was kind of like medical error. Is that demonic stuff? Is it not? So I'm very like a little paranoid, but I'm also like, I'm aware how much they mess with us every day.
Okay.
So we have to know how to deal with it.
Well, speaking on the demons, and it just seems like really just, would you say demons are like all the negative aspects of life that we have to confront? I know that's a very general.
I would definitely say, like we go through a trauma, there's a pain and a sadness that we endure. And then we get angry that trauma happened and we think about that trauma, right? And so then the demon goes, oh, it's a nice food. She's angry. She's sad. She has pain. I'm going to keep whispering in her ear because that trauma happened to you. That's why your light worker thing isn't working. Because that trauma happened to you, your mom is to blame for everything. And the demon will just use that trauma, which is a hole in the aura, to get the person to believe that trauma has ruined their life. So demons possess us through the holes of our trauma. That's one way to impact us. So then, we have to be like, okay, there's a part of me right now that's really sad, that's really angry. I have to love it. Like Reverend Bill says, I'm so angry. I'm so sad that man sexually molested me. I'm so angry, but I'm going to love that anger because it's a righteous anger. Sometimes anger is righteous. There's nothing wrong with being angry that somebody did something. I'm just like, and you just kind of like be very real with it. I get very passionate with it. Like I won't be like, I love the anger. It's so sweet. Like I'll be like, I'm angry that he did that.
Right.
And I just kind of get like that. And then when you do that, the energy will leave. It will have no more power. And then we have to remove the demon. So I usually, when people come in, I'm always like, let's remove the trauma and then let's remove the demon. And then their personality usually adjusts.
Like instantly, as soon as it's over, right?
Instantly. Like not like I'll see a little shift in them. Like their eyes will glow more. Their personality, I say 1 to 3 months.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. The demons, but that's why I like removing demons. It's one of my favorite things. It's the biggest shift I see in people. Like when I fix the chakra or something, like they'll feel good, like their heart feels good or sacral or whatever. But when you remove a demon, like it's like suddenly this filter that you've been thinking through since that trauma happened is gone. And that's what I like about it. But yeah, it's like it's important not to judge ourselves. That's really important. Like we all have these, and it's because our world is infested with them. They're just like cockroaches. I call them little cockroaches. Sorry to offend you guys, but that's what you are. So yeah, we remove the demons, we feel it, and then we'll be fine. But the good news is that every time we remove a demon, that spot then gets filled with source. So that's why the more we remove these things, we're more becoming source, which is like the David Hawkins scale, raising our vibration. I'm removing the pain, I'm accepting the sexual trauma happened, and now I'm just at acceptance.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
Now, is not getting these demons removed and is not dealing with these traumas something that can cause blocks?
Or disease in the body?
Yes, very good question. Yes, I think so. I think that's why I got so sick, because I started getting sick since I was a little kid. Like after I had that sexual trauma, I started having heart issues and I was like, couldn't move my body, So I was like, immediately year after that trauma, I suddenly got sick and I was a healthy little girl before that. So, and even in like the Western world, they have this longitudinal childhood trauma study, which like the name of it is escaping me, but they've been like studying children for like long time, decades, and every child that has trauma gets so sick. So we know there's a direct correlation to trauma and medical illness because sexual trauma, you suddenly get like women, I see women like, get breast cancer, and depending on their breast, I know what kind of trauma they had. Left breast is always they received the painful something. Somebody said something mean to them. They took it to heart. That turns into right breast is usually women that are pushing themselves, trying to be CEO, all this bullshit we've been told about what women are supposed to be. Women are supposed to be just women, mommy, sisters, friends, frolicking in the woods. They're not supposed to be like high achiever men. I'm sorry if some women are doing that. I don't mean to dismiss you. I did that and it was the wrong path. I had to come back. So it made me sick to be so masculine. I have to say that. I was pushing myself so hard. So that's kind of like our body is meant to be like natural, comfortable. Trauma completely disrupts that. So it has to be removed. And then, yeah, demons, like for example, people that have cancer, I call it nano demons because little parasites. The doctors are not going to like me saying this, but a lot of people that have cancer is parasites. Okay. And so parasites look like little nano demons. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a parasite, like Google it. They look like little aliens. Remember the Matrix when that little bug goes in Neo's belly button?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what parasites look like. And so a lot of light workers might have parasites. And they don't test for that. Doctors don't test for that. And yeah, and then somehow the trauma and parasites seem to be connected, which is, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still putting it together. There's some kind of a connection with it.
Okay.
So yeah, and then it can create blocks because yeah, then you're kind of like, you're sad, you're in pain, you're not going to go out and, put yourself out there, right? Like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not healed enough yet. That kind of stuff is what people say to me, which is what the trauma makes them believe. But the trauma is just an energy that has to leave the body. And
Gotcha.
Yeah, and first of all, I just want to say I'm so sorry that you went through that as a child, and anybody that goes through that as a child and for it to connect to your heart directly makes so much sense. I mean, that's just I'm sure it changed your world at that point. And I'm just it's awesome to see here where you're at now and what you're doing. It's just amazing that you're helping others heal and everything. So thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah.
so thank you.
We concur.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I was thinking about the chakras, and how they all correlate, with different parts of the body. And I don't know, but I think last time we talked to you, that we were talking about chakras and development, and I think you were saying something about at certain ages chakras develop. And is that what you said? That really caught my attention.
Yeah, it seems to, that's what I've been noticing. Like when people come to me and they have suicidality, I always know it's the root chakra. Why? Because they did not have a proper attachment. So 0 to 2 is root chakra. It's kind of like, when it's developing. And this is just kind of like me putting it together, but there's also Dr. Brenda Davies. She has a wonderful book on chakra psychology I would recommend. But 0 to 2, so I would actually say conception to 2. Because yesterday I was clearing a trauma for a woman where her mom was beaten by her dad's mom while she was pregnant and not fed. So we have to do a regression and go clear that. and it was impacting her ability. So
Wow.
that was root chakra, right? Because she was in her mom's belly. But still, when I looked at her root chakra, it was super closed. She wasn't able to like plug in. And I was like asking her questions about her early years to see what would click. And then the moment she said the birth trauma and like her grandma beating her mom, I'm like, that's it, you know? So then it's 3 to 5 is sacral chakra. That's when we're learning to go to the bathroom, right? So things sacral, sexual organs. We're learning to pee, use the toilet, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Freud psychosexual stages, whatever. But at that level, the sacral is developing. So how we connect to people, our ability to trust people is going to be highly impacted if there's a sexual trauma. So for me, it took a long time to be able to trust people, right? I could read people after that. So I could see the evil and the good. So I'm like, how am I supposed to trust these people with all this evil inside of them? My own evil inside of myself, I had to understand too, right? So
Yeah.
then after that is like 6 to 10. That would be like solar plexus. That's power. Can I start a business? Can I move to Alaska? Can I write that book? Or am I completely powerless? So if trauma happens at that age, like people get bullied at school, boys and girls made fun of, puberty stuff, they feel powerless. They don't feel like they can go out there. Then after that, I would say like 12 to 16ish, 17ish, because these are all like just theories still, right? Heart chakra. That's when we get our crushes in high school. We go to prom, giving and receiving love. God forbid a boy breaks our heart or a girl cheats on us. After that, we will never trust love again, right?
The emotions are high.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people come to me and I see their heart chakra is broken, I'm not worried about what they're doing as a 40-year-old. I'm looking at high school, what happened, because I'm always looking for the root of everything. Because to me, it's always in the root. Otherwise, I'm just symptom treating and they have to come back, right?
That's like what this whole medical field here is all about, symptom treating.
I hate it because symptoms don't tell us anything. Like they're like, they did it. I'm sorry, I'll go on a tangent. But yeah,
No,
so this heart chakra, give and receive love, right? So we master it. If we have a cute relationship in high school, or we learn how to flirt with our friends, whatever, then our heart chakra has to help. Then after that is the throat chakra. So like 18 to 21. Some of us go to community. Like I went to community college. So I didn't get good grades like the last years of school. I was like a light worker. I was like out of the school half the time. So I was like rebellious to the core. Okay. College at 18 to 21, my mom is like, you did a 360. You guys are serious. So something happened in my throat or my third eye, which I was like suddenly serious student, whatever. So I was able to like write essays, right? Like that's when we learn how to like write things, that kind of stuff. But it's also when we're like on our own. So if there's a trauma at that time, we might lose our voice. A lot of times I feel when I meet girls and guys and I feel their little throat heart chakras is not saying it. I'm like, 18 to 21, somebody shut them up. Like somebody told them it's not appropriate. Like I'm always like fighting for that. And it could be the littlest thing. Like people think a trauma has to be all dramatic, but sometimes it can be some dumb professor telling you that essay will never be in the blah, blah. And it's like, they don't know,
But that person carries it along with them as a wound, right?
Exactly. So that's why when I give people like when you go to me or any healer, write down every little thing. You never know what little thing is impacting.
Okay.
So then after that, it will be the third eye, right? And then the crown. But I also will say the crown and the third eye don't develop for everybody. I mean, if you look around the world, do they look like their third eye's open? I'm not trying to. So I'm sorry, God, but so
that's like the step that's getting like skipped or it's being suppressed or stalled or whatever you might say.
Pineal gland. I mean, they do so much to keep the don't use fluoride in your toothpaste.
And in the water, it's in the water.
It's in the water, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but our plan for like the new world we're going to build, we're going to heal everything. At the point of all of us talking about this is for all of us to heal, so that we can all be in our highest vibration and then come together and heal the world. But Reverend Bill says, like
awareness of who and what we actually are. But
exactly,
our spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah,
I love that. Exactly. And Reverend Bill is like, what's happening to the body is not real. In the spiritual realm, the person in the hospital is healthy. So that kind of stuff. And we have to kind of use that. Yeah. So those would be, then the crown chakra, a lot of times is closed on people because there has been past lives where they've used spiritual technology to close it. So sometimes we have to remove it. So sometimes people come to me and they're like, I can't meditate. But then when we open up their crown, then suddenly, I felt it, So if you're having a hard time meditating or connecting. It could just be a little block, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, so that would be the developmental stages. So I kind of like, if anybody's watching this, if you want to kind of like do some self-healing, I would suggest making a timeline of your life, those times we mentioned, and then write down what happened in those times in your life. And you'll have a good starting point for what to work on each of your chakras.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
Thank you for
That
sharing
is,
that.
yeah,
I
that
feel
is serious
I feel like that really
spiritual homework.
resonates with me.
Me
It
too.
will be a huge one. And so I would suggest, yeah, like do the timeline. Like, you know, I was 2
I
years
love a
old.
good timeline.
Yeah, I love timeline.
I
Like my
do.
high five, you know.
Dude.
Then go over the timeline after you finish all of it, and you're gonna write how you felt. Like when they sexually abused me, I felt powerless, or when they hit me, I felt less like a girl or less like a man or whatever. Write the feelings, all the feelings. Then you get all the feelings back because they
Mm.
took our feeling, they numbed us when they traumatized us. So you get the feeling back. And then the third thing is you're going to go and you're going to write what power you got from each trauma. So like
Mm.
my first, I had a bunch of sexual traumas. Like I said, the first sexual trauma gave me the power that the underworld, I see it.
Okay.
That's the biggest gift I ever got from the world, I believe.
Right.
The scariest, but the best. So it's kind of like, and I want you guys to do that. Each of your traumas, they will have like a significant spiritual gift. I promise you. Because God is like, thing.
Yeah, it does seem.
You know?
It definitely seems like there's a huge connection with going through darkness and trauma. That actually, that's how you. I don't know. I don't know if you could say awaken or spiritually evolve. I don't know to
Yes.
the awareness of everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
You
No,
grow
darkness
through it.
is so important, like shadow work, right? Like Carl Jung, he said like shadow work is the path of the heart warrior.
Ooh.
You know, like, Carl Jung says deep stuff that takes me years to understand. So I've been thinking about it for a long time. Path of the heart warrior. So we're all heart warrior because you guys are here on a Sunday recording, for God's sake, right? So you're not doing
Yeah.
this to millionaires. Maybe you will be. I don't know. But what I'm saying is heart warrior means I follow my heart.
I resonate with that a lot.
Here. So shadow work. So my shadow, for example, you know how I got to know her? I made an altar for her.
Ah, okay.
So I had like an altar to the Divine Mother. Like I was like loving her, like she's my little baby kind of thing. But then when I knew my shadow, like when I would see my anger come out, or you know, I'd be like, whoa, what is happening? You know? And so then I made an altar for her and I picked a shadow goddess to work with. And men can do men could pick Odin. Odin had a lot of shadow, you know, like so pick a masculine archetype you relate to that's dark but still good. So don't pick like a goddess that's like evil. Pick one that was misunderstood, like a
Okay.
Medusa would be a good one. The Morgan would be a good one. Ones that were actually good. So and then for men it would be the same. So then you make an altar for it and you're going to talk to it and you're going to love it because the only way to heal our shadow is to love it. So like I would tell it like, yeah, I know you got angry and you yelled at that guy that molested you, but you had every right to do that. I like would tell her, good job being angry. I love your anger. Instead of like, that is so inappropriate and unspiritual for you to be angry. You know, what would our gurus say? I would just love her when she was angry. And then after a while, that anger went down. She no longer needed to scream to get my attention. I was
Yeah.
hearing her, you know,
That's beautiful.
or like
Yeah.
she would.
It makes me think of the inner child. I mean, you could also say you're saying that to your inner child, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
and our
healing.
inner child, our shadow is kind of like a powerful version of our inner child created to protect us, but it doesn't always do the right thing. So it has to be tamed, right? Like I'm not gonna let my shadow go yell, you know, create a mess. But if somebody's in danger, I would scream and save them. So one of my teachers used to say, use your anger, don't let it use you. But use your like at the hospital when they were ignoring, I yelled. I'm like, he needs pain medication now. You know, and they were like shocked that a 5'2" little psych person was yelling. I was like, he's gonna like if something happens to him, like so that's when you want to use your shadow in those kind of emerging situations. You're in a 3D world, still be loving and kind, but God gave us that power for a reason, as I will say. We don't need to like Yeshua wasn't passive. He was loving, but he wasn't passive, right?
Very
And there's
good.
a
Yeah.
book that some lady wrote called Assertiveness for Earth Angels, but she's no longer calls herself an Earth Angel. But the book was a good one.
Who wrote that?
Doreen Virtue.
Okay.
Virtue. Okay.
Okay. I don't think I've heard of that book before.
Yeah, I have it.
It served as a communication book. But also, if that book is out of print, I would do nonviolent communication. So it's like a
Okay.
4-step in emergencies. Basically, what's coming for everybody, there will be difficult conversations. There might be challenges. So we have to kind of have spiritual tools with love, but also with girth.
Thank you. That's really
Mm.
great advice to be
Yeah.
able to navigate, everything.
Yeah, and love yourself through it. Don't judge your shadow, be
Mhm.
gentle with him and her,
Mm.
We're living in a world of light and dark. So our shadow is actually our biggest fighter for us. We just have to tame it and not ignore it.
I love all this advice. This is
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You
And
were
I-
speaking about archetypal energies. I had a question on that, but what role do archetypal energies play into our lives, like positive and negative?
Yeah, very good question. So I would say, like, you know how like we like different movies, different stages of our life, like we'll get obsessed with this hero or this character, things like that.
Mhm.
That's kind of your way of knowing like what your soul is in right now. So when I'm like really into like Avengers, I know I'm in like my warrior archetype, I go into like a romantic movie, I know I'm in like my lover archetype. So we're always going into different aspects of ourselves based on like what we need to be. But you'll know what archetype you're in because you'll be drawn to a certain mythology. So Jung was really into mythology, right? Mythology, the stories of creation, like Persephone and Hades. So when you get drawn to those mythologies, that's the archetype you're usually working with. And I always tell people like keep working with it. You're not like worshiping the archetypes, but you can be like, let me read about Persephone. Like, what happened? What was that story of the underworld and the thing? Or what happened with Athena and Medusa? So these different archetypes, we go in and out of them because everything comes from the one source, right? So we're all
Yeah.
of it.
Yep.
That's something I haven't looked much into, so I'm not fully aware of, the Greek mythology and all that. I hear about it often, but I'm not
I
schooled.
think you would love. I think you would like, yeah, kind of like, yeah. There's one book I would suggest everybody look at. It's Carl Jung's Red Book.
Okay. Why do you suggest that one?
So he wrote that book when he was going through what we're going through right now, like his ascension, or he called it individuation, which is basically all the archetypes of us and all of our shadow and light. It all becomes one. And then eventually we become like our God self because we welcome all of it and it becomes one. So when he was going through that, he was having dreams and nightmares and visions as he was painting them. So there's like drawings of like these creatures of the depth he was seeing. Like I saw things like that too. Like in my shadow work, I would see giant like creatures underwater. I would have dreams of animals. And so Jung drew them, which is what I love because he was a psychiatrist, you guys. He was a medical doctor and he was having a shamanic rebirthing experience. And the pictures, I think if people see it, like there's one with like an egg, which is like the egg of creation. Like he was having visions. And it's kind of like that, where we're going through these processes that truths will be revealed to us. So it's almost like God was showing him how creation was created, but he was painting it. So it was really cool. But yeah, you could just Google the pictures. You guys will love it. I promise.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know you keep mentioning your clients, and this question keeps coming to the forefront of my brain. I would just like for you to share with our audience what services specifically you offer, and then where can they go to reach you if they want to work with you to do that.
Oh, so sweet of you. Yeah, my website is soulradiancehealing.com. And then I have a little YouTube channel, Hopeful Purpose with Dr. Pontea, which my point is to just bring light to all the good leaders. And then, yeah, they can just go to the website, send me a message. And my work is more like spiritual healing. I'm not like a clinician anymore. I do have my PhD in clinical psychology, so I know all that crap. I'm so sorry to offend you. But I don't believe in diagnosing. I don't believe in mental illness. I don't believe there is mental illness. Like in my reality, what God has told me, there is no mental illness.
Okay.
And so my work is all spiritual. So if you come to me, I'm working to remove demons from you. I'm looking to find the traumas. I'm getting you to make peace with your parents. I don't care what they did. My goal is always to come to peace with them, whether they were evil or really good, because that's like the two meridians of our body, and that's not flowing, and we all have challenges with our parents. I
Like
promise.
forgiveness.
Like forgiveness, but sometimes it's hard to forgive someone because they were truly evil, right? Like I had a client that like the dad raped her. Okay. So like, I'm not going to tell her you got to forgive your dad.
Right.
But I did have one teacher. She was raped by her dad and she was with him when he died. holding his hands.
It is. I do. It is a big deal. I think. Well, more so for the victim, I guess you could say, or the to be able to release it. There's a release that happens there. It's out of the immediate release, I think, and I've experienced it where I have forgiven someone who's hurt me, and it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders.
Exactly. It's like you get all that power back suddenly, So with traditional psychology, they're always like, you're fucked up for life. You have to take pills. Like you are borderline. You have narcissistic. You have this. But that whole thick book they wrote, I don't even know how they came up with it.
Right.
What is that book called? Isn't there like
It's called the DSM, Diagnostic Statistical.
Yeah, I've heard that referenced a lot, actually.
It really is the worst thing that happened to humanity.
Like anybody could be put into any of those. Like basically everybody could be given it.
When I was reading it in school, I thought I was like the most mentally ill person ever. I was like, I have this, I have this, I have all of it.
And what's crazy is that's what most psychologists do. They just go through the checklist of things and they're like, yep, you've got this, and these are all the pills you need to take for the rest of your life. But I really appreciate your approach more to where it's not just like surface level symptom treating. We're not just treating like your pain.
There's a root to everything.
We're digging it out and getting down to the bottom of the roots to figure out where that pain originated from. Like I really wish that more doctors would take the approach that you do, because I feel like a lot of the symptoms and things that people are presenting on the physical manner are stemming from emotional things and blockages and traumas that got trapped up and festered and all of a sudden presented itself in this physical way.
Exactly.
And it can be physical, like, or mental, either way, I'm sure it could,
and there's a test, like I don't give it to people, but if people are curious about their brain chemistry, Braverman test. You answer like I think 20 questions for like serotonin, 20 questions for this. So if your brain chemistry does have something off, you can look at that test and you'll know. And then you can take vitamins for it, for God's sake. None of this psychiatric crap. They're going to kill me for saying
Hey, man.
Or you could like stop eating a certain food that might have this additive that's,
Exactly. Like some foods have serotonin in them. You're so smart. Exactly. So our psychology can be fixed with food and meditation and spirituality, and therapy is good for like when you're suicidal, like you go to a trauma clinic, but I really want the whole psychological spiritual system to be revamped. Like I'm a stand for everything has to change.
Well, thank you.
So
wow. I feel like you need like an ovation right now. I really believe that. That's really
I was earlier in the chat, I was thinking of a whole hospital, a mental hospital, a spiritual mental hospital would be awesome. Like, and for those just start popping up everywhere. But,
that's what we need. Exactly. So if people want to, like, if you're looking at the world and you're thinking the world's a mess, what do you want to do? Do you want to open a little clinic? Do you want to be a healer? Do you want to write a book? Like, that's what Divine Mother would say. She'd be like, you're all my beautiful children. I've given you so many gifts. Like, what do you want to do? So yeah, I do think exactly, Leslie, that like clinics like that, like spiritual centers, it's going to pop up. But then they have to do it with integrity. They can't be like opening up spiritual centers, like saying this is the price and you can't get in. You have to let people pay what they can afford. And like 90% of healers are not doing this.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you again for doing it and being I love your rebel nature.
Reverend Bill's been doing it even longer than me, right? Like for me, it was like I had to, but Reverend Bill's been doing it even longer. So if he can do it and he's 78, that means like some philosophy he followed is working. So that means we can trust it. And so, yeah, like if you are a healer, just have that in your heart. Like if somebody comes to you, just be like, hey, like, if you can't afford it, pay what you can and see what happens to you. I promise you, you will get 10 times more. I do it selfishly because everything I do comes back to me. It's not like, you know what I mean?
She's like, I'm awesome to everybody else. But I feel like you should ask her your famous question.
Okay. What is your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
My greatest hope for the future of humanity is to completely get rid of evil from our planet once and for all and win this final battle. I am done with them.
Okay.
That's my hope is let's get together and get rid of them once and for all.
Can you give us some tools that people can work with to do that?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing so this week, I always made fun of chanting. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know if you love chanting. So for me, it was always like, why chant?
Okay.
But this last week when I was in the hospital day and right, and I was like dying, I couldn't like meditate. I was like, and it was like the hospital air was just like gross, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So one of my doctors was like, chant. And I was like, what's that going to do? But I did listen to him. I stayed up 4 hours in the middle of the night chanting. And so I think that's why God wanted me to do that, to kind of get proven. So chant. What kind of chant are you going to do? Let me give you the kind of chant you're going to do. You're either going to do something like an ancient Hindu chant, like Om Namah Shivaya is an example of one.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is Om Sai Shri Sai Jai Jai Sai, which means victory to the Divine Father. Then
Okay.
there's another one for Kalima. You want to call on the craziest, most powerful aspect of the Divine Mother? Call on Kali. She will protect all of your family. So Om Kali, Om Kali Namaha, or Kali mantra. So those three will be good. They're all on YouTube. We have so many light workers doing all this stuff for free, putting all this stuff for free on YouTube, right? So
Yeah.
you would do it 15 minutes a day and never skip a day. I don't care if like you have the flu, I know like you might be so tired, but just do it. Because if you
Okay.
skip one day, you have to start over again for 1 year. And if you do it every day, it's going to build like a wave of protection around you.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're driving and like you notice there's people driving weird, turn on the chants loud in the car because like sound is very powerful, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not a musician, but I'm obsessed with music. But so when we're playing those chants, it's almost like it's sending out waves, like so that'll be one.
Okay.
Number two is going to be every single day light a fire in the morning. It can be a little tiny candle. I buy little butter candles on Amazon. They're called ghee candles. They're tiny. They will burn in 20 minutes. So you don't have to worry about burning the house. You light one every single morning and you bow in front of it like this, like you're bowing to God. And you just say, thank you, God, for putting this fire protection around me, my family, and my loved ones in our world. Don't skip a day. Okay. One time a
Okay.
dangerous person was going to come to my house and literally I saw a fire go up like from the stove. So the fire is very real. So the fire protection, the chanting, the second one is the timeline. So you figure out where your holes are. You guys got to figure out what traumas are causing them to be able to attack you. So once you have the timeline and you have all the feelings, you have to start clearing the feelings. So when I start, and I would do just one a day. Don't kill yourself, okay? So I would be like, I'm gonna work with this trauma today. I have bitter, like let's say there was like a failure, like you failed. So then with that one will come, I'm gonna say the words. It's failure, disillusionment, and envy. It will bring the demon, the punisher. Okay. So if you find failure within yourself, somehow you feel like you failed, be like, oh my God, I failed. I failed. That hurts so much. I failed. And just feel it and love it. And then you can just say, if there is a demon attached to this, I'm going to give you guys a little short demon removal method because I want everybody to have something. Okay. So
Yeah.
you remove the feeling. You have to first remove the feeling. Don't start without it because he has too much juice without you do that. So you first
Okay.
remove the feeling. Then you call in God. So you say, God, please come and be with me. You connect to the golden waterfall. You let it cover your whole body. So you're kind of like in the golden light. And then you just say, I call forward the demon that was connected to this trauma. And you just kind of call it forward. You look directly at it, whether you see it or not. And you say 4 things. You say, thank you for being a teacher of darkness for me. I am now declaring the lessons on failure, disillusionment, and envy complete. And then you say, I ask you to leave my field and never return again. And then you say the 4th part, which is to make sure, thank you, Yeshua, Michael, Divine Mother, God, everybody for making sure this demon is fully gone. And you wait. And if you feel something come out of your body, you'll know it's right. You should feel like like a napkin lift off of you or like some kind of a sharp pain. Like it should be an instant shift. If it didn't remove, it didn't leave. So I would go back to the feeling, keep clearing, and then repeat the process.
Wow.
And that should work. Yeah. And so that would be the demon. And so I would start working on the feelings, removing the demons. So just do like 2, 3 a week. Don't get crazy with it.
Okay.
And then I would do salt baths after. If you don't have a bathtub, do a salt scrub, because I don't have a bathtub in my new place. I just use a salt scrub. You can get a eucalyptus one, 3 of them for $20 on Amazon.
Okay.
Put the salt all over you, the pores of your head, inside of you, around like the corners of your ear. between your little toes, you know, leave it on 5 minutes and then just wash it off. And that's kind of like the last. So the salt is kind of like a way to clear the etheric body. So we have, right, we have our physical body, then it's the etheric body, mental, emotional, and spiritual body. So the etheric body is like right next to our body. And it's kind of like when we wash dishes, like the sponge gets dirty. So a salt bath or sauna or salt scrub will clear the etheric layer, which I say that's where the demon goose sticks around.
Oh, wow.
So then you like, like you said, like you actually have like a facial for your aura kind of feeling.
A facial for your aura.
Not a facial.
Yeah, it feels like lighter, you know?
Yeah.
Those are some good tools for people to use that will help them right now. And then really working with their shadow. So figure out an archetype for your shadow. Like right now, I'm really feeling like Thanos. I want to just destroy the world. And then just kind of talk to it. Be like, why do you want to destroy the world? And he might be like, look at all the children that are being raped. And then you might be like, well, yes, but we're going to help them. Or the CIA's been helping them, you know? So you want to kind of console your shadow. Like it's like a, you know, so get, that would be the last part, would be become friends with your shadow.
I think all of this is excellent advice.
Yeah, me too.
I love when we give
up.
our audience things to add to their like spiritual toolbox. You know, I feel like with each guest that we have, they all contribute something to the spiritual toolbox. So many, many, many gratitudes for you for doing that, for adding to that. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Healing trauma is so important. And, you know, there is also generational trauma, which, you know, people can look into. But what I want to say about that is that, you know, hurt people. And so, you know, if you don't heal your trauma, you could end up, you know, turning around and doing something else to somebody else. You know what I mean? So like, it's so important to heal and to heal spiritually. And, you know, people who hurt people are hurt themselves unless they're psychotic or something and it's not right in their head. But,
exactly.
For the most part, that's what's going on. And so healing is so important. And, hopefully everybody can just start to heal. So that way we can heal the world.
Yeah, we all deserve it, you know, like we all deserve to heal basically. And yeah, like, and yeah, exactly. Like my shadow, when I hadn't tamed it, I had, you know, I'm sure I hurt people in the past. And so I had to make amends. So when we do help, we can like make amends. And sometimes they might have passed already. So we can make amends to the ghosts. But exactly, like, yeah, I'm constantly healing. I still have my own healers. It's like a never ending journey. Like I'm not perfect. I'm still human.
Right.
And that's okay. And we're all human.
So I do want to, you know, talk about star seeds and you know, interdimensional extraterrestrial beings. So I'm sure Allie is interested in what you might have to say about that as well, and Justin. But what advice, first of all, would you give to someone who is skeptical about the benefits of spiritual healing?
I would say try it. I always trust experience. Don't listen to anything I say. Look at the experience. Don't listen to anything anyone says actually till you see the experience, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had people come in here be atheists and then they were like shocked. It was hilarious. Like actually my favorite is people that don't believe, you know? But sometimes I've had people that are like so resistant that it's like their aura like pushed me out, you know? But I still put a little seed in there. And you won't see results sometimes for weeks. But yeah, if people are skeptical, I would say try it. Not with me, but to anybody. Try different healers and see if you see a shift.
Yeah. And I guess if they're open to it, they might not be so skeptical after all. There's an opening already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Let your curiosity be curious. Curiosity doesn't kill the cat. I promise you.
Right.
So what can you share with us about star seeds? And
so star seeds. So it's like, so it's interesting because apparently there's 22 species of star seeds on the planet.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay.
Always hear certain common ones, right? Like Sirian or Pleiadian or Arcturian.
Or
But there's
Lyrians,
22 species. And if you guys want the chart, I would go to Graham's Galactic Astrology Academy. Graham, he's like a genius. And he'll send that to you for free. Like he's so sweet. It's a list of 22 star seeds, and you can look and see which ones you are. And I will say that most people are hybrid. So you might be like a little Syrian, a little, right? Like, you know, so most people aren't just one like purebred. That doesn't exist. We've had so many lives, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, but what I've noticed is that like they're different, like their personalities. Like when the Pleiadians come in, like they're different, you know, they're social, they're more like community. you know, or like when I see the Syrians come in, they're very serious, they're very intense, you know, and like, and I love them. I call them the golden bloodline, you know, because they have golden blood. And I've done meditation where we've gone to a Syrian lodge in Sirius. And so, which there's a mountain in San Diego that has portals to all kinds of starseed places. It's called Mount, am I allowed to say it? Not yet. But there's a mountain in San Diego. At some point we will, it's kind of like Mount Shasta, let's say. But
Okay.
Okay, that's what came to my mind.
yeah, you're so smart. It's just as powerful. And it was the ancient, it was Lemuria. So we used to go
okay.
meditate there. One of my teachers would take us and we'd meditate like all day in the mountain. And I didn't believe in star seeds back then, right? Like he would talk to us and I'd be like, yeah, I'm just interested in like psychology and angels. Then we saw the spaceship in my mind, not physically, but we saw the Arcturian spaceship and it was kind of like a triangle. And I was told the people that have Arcturian bloodline, we always have an Arcturian ship above us. Isn't that interesting? Kind of like a higher self. And then we would meditate in a group. And you know, when we meditate in a group, nobody can lie because you're all seeing the same vision, right? So we were all meditate in a group, put our consciousness together, and then we would teleport to different star systems. And I remember like we went to Sirius one time because this mountain has a rock called Sirius Rock on it.
Okay.
It was my favorite. Okay. So I would always lay on it. And then when we came back, I remember all of our bodies were glowing with like golden blood. So it was really interesting. So you guys don't have to even go there. Just what I'm saying, hold the intention. I want to connect to Sirius rock on that mountain, Pontea said. Meditate and you can do the same thing. Because I was told to share about it. But I'm just not allowed to say the name yet, but they told me to tell people about the tool and you'll be able to access it even if you don't go there. So that's kind of how it is. Like there's starseed portals all over the planet, you know, like obviously in Sedona in Arizona, we know, or there's places that we know. And so those are places that it's easier to teleport and go there, you know, in meditation, but you can do it anytime, like, you know, but so that kind of stuff. I will say that, like, yeah, when people come here, I do see that, like, yeah, starseed psychology is interesting. You know, they don't feel like they belong. A lot of times they want to leave. They feel like this is not their home. And I tell them, I know it's not your home. We're on a mission. You know, it's not your home. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so it's kind of like that. They have a homesickness, you know, starseeds. And yeah, but they're in all categories of life. I think 22 species, right? And all of them are good, obviously. We have a lot of evil starseeds as well, but the good ones are good.
You spoke a little bit at the beginning of our conversation. I don't know if it was before we started recording or not, but on I mean, I guess it would be starseeds, but it would be, you know, light workers in general, and I guess the spiritual blocks and a lot happening to light workers right now, like more so than ever. And I don't know if you want to speak on that. You may have already said a little bit on that, but
yeah, like Reverend Bill was telling me the other day. He said, you know, one thing that comes when your light increases is that the attacks from the dark also. They can see, you know, like they can look in the earth and see all of our auras. So, because the earth is dark, you know, and there's a book called The World of Archangels, if you guys want to read it, by a man named Sufyan, and he talks about the filters of how we'll see the 3D to 5D. He describes it very beautifully, World of Archangels.
Okay.
But he described in his book, he said it's kind of like the earth is all dark, but then when a light worker, like we heal ourselves, right? Like we're bringing that light in, it's kind of like fireflies. So they start to see these fireflies. And then when one of these fireflies starts to glow, they're like, attack, attack, attack. Because it's about to kind of reach that point of no, but they can't fuck with it anymore. I'm sorry to cut. Sorry.
You're fine.
But yeah, it's like, so they're trying to stop you from getting to the point where they can't F with you anymore. So be alert. I want everybody to be like, listen, we're all kind of like rebels. Okay. But right now is not the time to rebel. Don't have sugar. Don't have gluten. Try to be vegetarian if you can. If you crave protein, of course, eat a little bit, but try to do everything to the best now. Like this is the time where it's like we have to be like that because the tests are really hard every single day.
Water.
Yeah, like water also. Like because when we're ascending, you guys, I think like what's happening is like our traumas are dissolving and maybe it takes more water. I'm not sure, but somehow dehydration. So more water. And if a lot of our water might not be the best water, right? But you can still take any liquid and just say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and then
I do
drink.
that every day.
Exactly. So even if it's poison, we can change the chemistry of it, I believe. You know,
Dr.
It's pretty much scientifically proven, I think. I don't know if it really fully.
Dr. Emoto.
Exactly, Dr.
Dr.
Emoto, yeah.
Emoto, yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. And our body's 75% water. So I would say, yeah, just use all your tools. Don't skip your meditations if you don't feel good. I don't want to be like telling people what to do, but this is how I'm surviving it because I've
Okay.
noticed the entities have been turned up. So yeah, I would do that. And lots of juice, you know, have those little immunity shots with like elderberry, ginger,
I
that kind of
love
stuff.
those.
Yeah, like
That's
have
what I
those
make you drink when you feel like you're getting sick.
That's true
Yeah.
love. That's true love. Take care of each other. Exactly.
I love her so much.
Love you too.
Oh.
You guys give each other a kiss.
And I was thinking, another is a important thing is self-love. You know, to love yourself and your whole self, shadow and all. So
Exactly. Like we have to love ourselves to a point where we don't need anyone, but we're still open to loving everyone. That's the trick. So don't be like, I love myself so much. Like, you know, but like, it's like, I love myself. I can be alone. I can meditate for hours. But if my friends want to visit, I'm open. Being our heart open, but still being independent would be really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Wow.
Thank
So
you
we've
for
had a
sharing
very well-rounded conversation. We've
Yeah.
spoken about your NDE, the work that you do, spiritual tools that our audience can use when they feel like they need a pick-me-up or to get higher ascension or whatever. And yeah, I just really like love the full spectrum of things that we spoke about. Is there any last words or things that you feel like you didn't get a chance to say yet that you'd like to share before we close out?
Yes, I will say that our Divine Mother is real. She loves everybody. And if you're really, really in trouble, I would go to her. Like, just call on her. She will show up like this. So God is an important aspect of our spirituality, but I didn't get a chance to talk about Divine Mother. So I would definitely encourage people to pray to the Divine Mother for help, especially like when level 10 stuff hits and see what happens. Again, with experience, see how she responds.
Yeah, I think that's important. And I think with the Earth's ascension and everything that's happening right now, bringing in that divine femininity. Wow, did I just really mess that up? Bringing in that divine femininity can do the world a whole lot of good right now. I feel like a lot of people are reconnecting with the divine feminine and bringing in more of like a nurturing, empathetic, sympathetic, compassionate type of approach and outlook on things versus very like us versus them, you know, like that masculine that everybody's been soaked in for long.
Yeah.
We all need like a grandma to just hug all of us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Don't we all just need a big hug from a grandma right now from what we all been fighting the last few years? So and all the women are divine feminine embodiments and all the men are divine masculine embodiments. We are all equal children of God. There's no hierarchy. And so, yeah, just remember that you are the divine mother. If you're a woman, you are the divine mother. And
I mean, all genders have both divine.
All genders have both. So men also have, men also have the divine mother.
And to have that balance within each.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's about the balance.
The unity. But it does seem to be that, like, you know, be whatever you feel comfortable being. If whatever you feel comfortable, be that. So don't
be authentic, right?
Yourself. Yeah. So very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
you guys are all
so
adorable, so brilliant, so smart, so service oriented. Thank you for keeping me on track. I know I talk in circles, so I appreciate your
great
sweetness.
And
we appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate your time and your wisdom and everything that too, and everything that you do with your clients, and for our audience that's going to soak this up like a sponge. And yeah, I'm just excited for it. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Dr. Pontea. Thank you, me. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everybody that's gonna watch this. And for our audience that's still sticking around, please do us a favor and smash that like button, click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word.
All right,
much love, peace, and
love
namaste.
You guys.
Namaste.
Love you too. Thank you.